There are places on the planet that seem vaster than the horizon itself, regions where the sky stretches like an infinite dome, deep blue by day and star-studded like a diamond carpet at night. Among these places, one stands out as the true heart of the Earth, the African savanna. The savanna is not just a landscape, it is a stage where life unfolds in its purest and most essential form. Here, every sunrise is an act of rebirth, every sunset a spectacle of colors painting the sky in fiery tones. The wind blows, carrying dust, but also stories of hunts, of survival, of dance, and of celebration. The heat of the savanna is intense, but not oppressive. It embraces the skin as a constant reminder that this is a world ruled by the power of nature. The reddish earth stretches as far as the eye can see, dotted with solitary acacias standing like silent guardians. Each tree tells a story of resilience. Each stone has witnessed millennia of life passing before it. In the savanna, everything is in motion. Herds of wildebeests travel miles in search of green pastures. Zebras align in perfect patterns like living paintings created by chance. Giraffes walk slowly, elegant as dancers touching the sky with their necks. And in the distance, the deep roar of a lion echoes as a reminder that here, life is also struggle, power, and instinct. The air is filled with sounds that never cease. The distant cry of hyenas at night, the vibrant song of birds that color the sky, the rustle of tall grass as the wind passes, creating golden waves under the setting sun. It is a natural symphony that surrounds the traveler, making each breath feel like part of something much greater. But the savanna is also silence, a deep, almost spiritual silence. When night falls and the village fire dies, only the moon remains, lighting the sandy ground and the shining eyes of animals moving in the dark. It is in that silence that the essence of this place is revealed, a connection to the dawn of time, as if the world had just been born. The African savanna is the cradle of humanity. It was here that the first steps of our species echoed on dry ground. And in a way, every journey through this land is also a return to the origins, to the roots that still pulse beneath the warm soil. Throughout this journey, we will travel through landscapes so grand they seem unreal. We will witness the Great Migration in the Serengeti, a spectacle of life and movement like no other. We will cross the Masai Mara, where the struggle for survival is as intense as the beauty of the scenery. We will float through the Okavango Delta, a miracle of water amid dryness, and we will descend into the Ngorongoro Crater, where life gathers in a natural amphitheater. We will continue to Kruger, where the Big Five reign among savannas and forests. We will visit the Kalahari, where life finds ways to flourish despite extreme aridity. We will explore Etosha, Namibia's white desert, where animals gather around salt pans. And we will dive into the waters of Lake Victoria and the Zambezi, where the life of the savanna finds its source of energy. This is not just a journey through landscapes. It is a journey through the very essence of life, because the African savanna is more than a place on the map. It is a mirror of what we were, what we are, and what we will always be, an inseparable part of nature.
The Serengeti is the beating heart of the African savanna, an endless plain where life moves in eternal cycles. It is here that one of the greatest spectacles of the natural world unfolds. The Great Migration. Each year, over 1 million wildebeests, zebras, and gazelles move across more than 1,000 kilometers, chasing rain and fresh grass. When the herds set off, the earth itself trembles. The pounding of hoofs echoes like thunder, raising vast clouds of dust that paint the horizon. Zebras ripple in stripes of black and white, like waves in motion. Giraffes watch from a distance, calm sentinels above the storm. But predators wait. Lions crouch in golden grasses, eyes locked on the herd. Cheetahs streak forward, golden arrows slicing the air. Hyenas lurk, patient, waiting for weakness. The Serengeti is abundance, and it is death. It is eternal balance between hunter and hunted. And it is that very struggle that ensures the survival of the land. At night, the dust settles. Above, the Milky Way spills across the sky like a river of light. The Serengeti is not just a place, it is life itself, wild and untamed, written across the land. But the migration knows no borders. As the herds push north, they lead us into Kenya's Masai Mara. The Masai Mara is the Serengeti's continuation, yet it has a soul of its own. Here, life reveals itself at its rawest, fiercest edge. It is a land of meetings and of clashes. The Mara River is the stage of its most dramatic act. Thousands of wildebeest gather at the banks, hesitation in every step. Across the water, green fields promise survival, but beneath the surface, crocodiles lie in wait. When the first leaps, the herd follows, a stampede of desperation. The river churns, the air fills with chaos, and each crossing is a gamble of life or death. On the plains, lions lounge under acacia trees, but their stillness is an illusion. With a twitch of the tail, the silence turns into a hunt. The roar shatters the air, the ground shakes with pursuit, and the drama of survival plays out in seconds. Cheetahs are the dancers of the savannah. Their hunts are swift, graceful, and tragic. Each leap is poetry in motion, ending in the quiet of inevitability. Yet the Mara is not only violence, it is also tenderness. The matriarch elephant guiding her calf through tall grasses. The silhouettes of giraffes crossing the horizon at dusk. The rhythmic jumping dance of the Masai warriors, reaching for the sky as if in dialogue with the gods. But not all savannas are dry. In Botswana, water spreads like veins across the desert, creating the miracle of the Okavango Delta. In the heart of dryness, where one expects only dust, a miracle appears. The Okavango Delta is a river that does not reach the sea. Instead, it fans out into channels, lagoons, and marshes, a living oasis in the savanna's core. Here, life blossoms in ways that defy logic. Elephants wade slowly, sending sprays of water glistening into the air. Hippos rise with heavy grunts, only eyes and ears above the surface. Crocodiles glide soundlessly between reeds, ancient and patient. Overhead, a festival of birds paints the sky. Kingfishers dive like darts of blue. Fish eagles cry out, sharp and commanding. Flamingos descend in clouds of pink, turning the waters into liquid color. The air smells different here. Damp earth, fresh reeds, the sweetness of hidden blossoms. It is relief, a pause from the dust and heat. And the silence is profound. broken only by the dip of a paddle cutting through water, or the splash of a leaping fish. The delta is meditation made landscape. The Okavango is a sanctuary, a vision of abundance carved in water. And if the delta is abundance, our next destination is a natural amphitheater where life gathers in harmony, the Ngorongoro Crater. Ngorongoro is not just a crater. It is a world within walls of stone, a sanctuary enclosed, a lost Eden in Tanzania's highlands. Formed millions of years ago, this vast caldera shelters a self-contained ecosystem. Within its walls, thousands of animals roam as if in a separate universe. Lions rest on slopes of green. Zebras graze across wide meadows. Flamingos blanket shallow lakes in soft pink waves. It feels like stepping into another time. The crater's walls isolate, creating the sense that everything here moves to its own rhythm. The air is heavy with the smell of wet grass and volcanic soil. The Masai live on its edges, guiding cattle as their ancestors have for centuries. Their red garments stand bright against the land, a reminder that culture and wilderness here are inseparable. Ngorongoro is not just landscape. It is a vision of Earth in balance, a glimpse of what the world may have been before us. But if Ngorongoro is a closed paradise, our next stop is vast and open. A land of sheer diversity, Kruger National Park. Kruger is one of Africa's oldest and largest reserves, a kingdom of biodiversity, a land where the savannah shows its full, unfiltered face. Here roam the legendary Big Five: lion, leopard, elephant, buffalo, and rhinoceros. To see them in freedom is to witness power embodied. Elephants march in family herds, stirring dust with every step. Their calves stumble between protective legs, while trumpets echo across the plains. Buffaloes gather in thick herds, eyes sharp, horns locked in readiness. Rhinoceroses, heavy and solitary, cross the land like armored relics. Lions lie in shadows by day, but at night their roars shake the soul. Leopards vanish into trees, silent phantoms watching from above. Kruger is the savanna's essence, abundant, fierce, alive. Every corner pulses with stories. Each encounter is unforgettable. And from this vastness, we journey into a different savanna where life defies the desert itself, the Kalahari. The Kalahari is called a desert, but it is not empty sand. It is a breathing savanna where life hides, survives, and blooms in the most unexpected ways. For much of the year, the sun burns relentlessly, the ground cracks, and the air shimmers with heat. Yet when the rains come, brief, precious, the Kalahari transforms. Suddenly, grass spreads across the red earth, wildflowers open like tiny flames, and herds appear as if summoned by magic. Wildebeests, zebras, and antelopes flood the horizon, followed closely by the watchful eyes of predators. Life here is fleeting but ferocious, a short-lived symphony of abundance. Among the most charming residents of the Kalahari are the meerkats. Standing upright, these little sentinels scan the horizon, chattering in quick notes. One cry of alarm, and the entire clan vanishes underground, retreating into hidden labyrinths of tunnels. The Kalahari is also home to the San, known as Bushmen. They read the desert as if it were scripture. Every footprint tells a story. Every dry shrub may hold water. Every stone marks a path. Their survival is not struggle, it is harmony, born of deep knowledge and respect. At night, the Kalahari reveals a sky unmatched anywhere. With no city lights, the Milky Way seems to fall onto the sand itself. The cold presses down, yet fires blaze in the camps, warming hands and hearts alike. The silence is total, broken only by distant calls of nocturnal creatures. The Kalahari is not empty. It is proof that life endures, even where the world seems barren. If the Kalahari shows us resilience against dryness, our next journey takes us to Etosha, a white desert alive with contrasts. Etosha in Namibia is a land of extremes. At its center lies the Etosha Pan. A vast salt flat stretching beyond sight. From afar, it looks barren, sterile, lifeless, but it is here, at the edges, that life gathers in astonishing abundance. During the dry season, water is scarce, concentrated in small pools. Around them, the savanna converges. Elephants arrive in towering herds. Zebras and giraffes share the same watering holes. Antelopes crowd the edges, ears twitching. Predators watch from the distance, patient shadows. The air is sharp with heat and dust. The horizon quivers in white haze. The wind drifts across the salt, carrying silence like a veil. Then, suddenly, a lion roars, or a jackal yelps, and the desert comes alive with echoes. When rains return, Etosha becomes unrecognizable. The pan fills with shallow water, transforming into a shimmering mirror. Flamingos descend in multitudes, painting the surface pink. It is a brief, breathtaking spectacle, a reminder that even deserts bloom. Etosha is paradox, a white emptiness that against all odds holds one of the richest gatherings of life in Africa. From the salt white vastness of Etosha, we move to a vast body of water. The Lake Victoria, the lifeblood of the Savannah. Lake Victoria is Africa's greatest lake, so vast its horizon mimics the sea. Shared by Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda, it sustains millions of lives. At dawn, wooden boats slide across calm waters. Fishermen cast their nets, their silhouettes sharp against the rising sun. The air smells of smoke from cooking fires, mingled with the freshness of fish pulled from the lake. Beneath the surface, life thrives. Hundreds of fish species, including tilapia, provide food for communities. Above, pelicans, herons, and kingfishers dive and soar, their cries weaving with the sound of water. Along the edges, hippos surface, snorting heavily before sinking again. Crocodiles wait still, half hidden among reeds. Elephants wander down to drink, their trunks stirring the mirrored surface. Lake Victoria is not only sustenance for bodies, it is culture, memory, and story. Songs and rituals of the people surrounding it always circle back to water. The lake is a mirror where the savannah sees itself reflected. It is more than a reservoir. It is a heartbeat of life. From this inland sea, we follow a mighty river whose voice becomes thunder, the Zambezi and the Victoria Falls. The Zambezi is one of Africa's great rivers. It carves valleys and forests, sustains countless species, and carries with it a spirit of power. But its greatest display is at the border of Zambia and Zimbabwe. Where it plunges into the void as Victoria Falls. Locals call it Mosi Oatunya, the smoke that thunders. And it is exactly that. The roar of the falls can be heard miles away. A cloud of mist rises constantly, pierced by rainbows that appear and vanish with the sun. To stand before it is to feel the earth tremble. The spray drenches your skin, the roar fills your chest, and words fall away. It is nature's voice in its loudest, rawest form. But the Zambezi is not only waterfalls. Along its course, elephants wade through its waters. Hippos gather in calm pools. Crocodiles drift like shadows. Colorful birds dart and circle, their calls a chorus to the river's song. At night, the river softens. The moon silver-plated its surface, the current whispers, and the savanna rests. The Zambezi breathes like a giant asleep. It is not just water, it is the soul of the Zambian savanna. Yet the savanna is not only rivers and animals, it is also the people who live here, guardians of traditions and keepers of memory.
We have reached the end of our journey, and yet it feels as if it is only just beginning. Because the African savanna does not end at a point on the map. It continues within us. It reverberates in every heartbeat. It breathes in the pauses between our words. After watching the dance of herds in the Serengeti, witnessing raw courage on the banks of the Mara River, gliding silently through the channels of the Okavango, contemplating the perfect amphitheater of Ngorongoro, feeling the majesty of Kruger and the arid truth of the Kalahari, something changes forever. The landscape settles inside us. The savanna has taught us that everything is in cycle, that the step of a wildebeest stirs the dust that nourishes the soil, that the shadow of an acacia shelters the seed of tomorrow, that the silence before the attack is as necessary to life as the roar that follows. We learn that no gesture is without consequence, that the river we drink is the same one that carves gorges and waterfalls, that the cloud drifting today will one day be born as a flower among thorns. The savanna is not a backdrop, it is a process, and we, no matter how far we live, are part of it. When the sun bids farewell and the plain dresses in copper, we understand that light has the gift of touching everything with the same affection. It rests on the back of the elephant with the same respect it caresses the skin of the fisherman on Lake Victoria. It lingers on the wings of the kingfisher and spreads across the salt of Etosha. It finds the ancient footprints of the sun and turns them into a map. It visits the dance of the Masai and inscribes it on the horizon as if it were sacred scripture. In the savanna, every sunset is a prayer spoken without words. Perhaps what moves us most is the honesty of this world. Here, beauty never comes alone. It carries with it struggle, hunger, patience, waiting. The cheetah that cuts through the wind is not just elegance, it is survival. The lioness leading her cubs is not only tenderness, it is strategy. The hippopotamus emerging among reeds is not apathy, it is measured breathing, economy of strength. The savanna invites us to abandon the comfort of metaphors and face life as it is, complex, fragile, and therefore sacred. And yet, poetry is everywhere. In the shine of the stars above the Kalahari, when the Milky Way seems to fall slowly over the dunes. In the liquid mirror of the Okavango, which returns to the land a sky full of herons and flamingos. In the salt flats of Etosha, where the absolute whiteness becomes a stage for a parade of species that understand time better than we do. In the silver mist of Victoria Falls, an open lung that makes the night swallow rainbows.
Because the savanna, like the entire world, faces challenges that do not fit in a single camera frame. There are invisible borders that interrupt ancient migrations, droughts that last longer than expected, excesses that impose themselves where once there was balance. And still, the savanna insists. It insists in the brief rain that transforms the earth, in the sprout that splits the hard soil, in the calf that rises unsteadily and suddenly runs. It insists on life as a promise fulfilled every day. Perhaps that is why when we close our eyes, we still see the Serengeti as a sea of moving grass, the mane of a lion outlined against the gold of dusk, the long shadow of a giraffe crossing the plain, the mirror of the lake reflecting a sky that seems bigger than hope itself. The body stores these details with affection, the smell of hot earth, the crackle of dry grass, the taste of dust in the mouth, the deep vibration of waterfalls felt in the chest. And when memory ignites, it rekindles our entire desire to belong. Because deep down, the savanna brings us back to the beginning, to the first fire, the first story told around it, the first fear overcome hand in hand. It reminds us that we came from a place where the horizon is not a limit, but an invitation. That the path is always forward, but never alone. That caring for the ground is caring for our own biography. So when the lights of this film go out, and the screen returns to its original darkness, take with you a simple commitment: to look at the world with more attention, to honor water, which is the invisible thread of every narrative, to respect time, which slowly writes the great landscapes, to keep silence when it is necessary to hear what the earth has to say, and above all, to protect what we love to see, for only what we choose to protect remains. The African savanna is a reminder that life is vaster than our hurried step, that there are rhythms that do not fit into the clock, dances that do not fit into the city, winds that do not fit inside a house. It offers us the chance to relearn the obvious. The planet is not a backdrop for our story. We are part of its story. If one day you return to these plains, you may not find the same light, the same herd, the same watering hole, but you will always find the same certainty, that here, among dust and grass, among hoof and wing, life reinvents itself, and that every farewell is just another delicate way of saying, "See you soon." Because the savanna does not end when we leave. It continues where the heart surrenders to the horizon, where memory chooses to stay, where the wind, in passing, whispers softly an ancient secret. Everything is connected. Everything returns. Everything begins again.